Right now, while you're watching this, you're spinning on multiple wheels. Your breath moves in cycles. Your emotions swing between poles. Your sympathies turn into antipathies and back again. You wake up, you go to sleep, you're attracted to someone, then repelled. You build something up, then it falls apart. This isn't chaos, this is samsara, and most people think it's just about reincarnation. It's not. Samsara is the fundamental pattern of existence, happening at every scale, from your heartbeat to the lifespan of universes. The problem is you're riding these wheels unconsciously, which means you're stuck in patterns you don't even see. Before we break down what these wheels actually are, and how you can start working with them instead of being thrown around by them. Subscribe to One Paradox Collective. We investigate consciousness and human potential with practical frameworks you can actually use. The word samsara comes from Sanskrit, meaning movement or flow. Think of it as concentric circles, wheels within wheels. You have the wheel of your breath. Inhale, exhale. That's one cycle completing thousands of times per day. Then you have the wheel of your emotions. Love and hate, joy and sorrow, moving back and forth. Your relationships cycle between connection and distance. Your thoughts alternate between clarity and confusion. Scale that up. The planet itself moves through cycles: birth, maturity, death. Our solar system orbits through space, galaxies rotate. The universe itself expands and contracts according to some teachings. Everything that exists moves in circular patterns, alternating between opposites. Creation and destruction, manifestation and dissolution. What makes this a wheel instead of just random change is that these opposites depend on each other. You can't have day without night. Can't have growth without resistance. Can't have consciousness without something to be conscious of. The wheel isn't a problem to solve. It's the mechanism. It's how energy organizes itself into form, how consciousness develops through interaction with matter. When people hear samsara, they immediately think about the cycle of birth and death, reincarnation. And yeah, that's part of it. But why does that concept create so much fear? Because we've reduced the whole teaching down to the one wheel that scares us most, the wheel of life and death. And we fear death because we don't understand what actually dies. Think about it this way. I had a pet fish, spent time with that fish every day. The fish is long gone, but the memory remains. The experience stays. The joy I felt talking to that fish, that's still here. So what died? The form died, the body. But the relationship, the emotion, the consciousness exchange, that continues. Here's what actually dies with death: your desires, the things in you that need to be fed every day to stay alive, your attachment to that specific fish, that specific body, that specific experience. Those desires have their own survival instinct. They want to be fed. They push you to repeat the pattern. Go talk to the fish, feel the joy, feed the desire. When the fish dies, that desire starves, and you feel the pain of loss. The pain isn't about the fish, it's about the hunger of an unfed desire. Now multiply that by every desire you have, every attachment, every pattern. The collection of all those hungry desires, all those things that will starve when you die, that's what creates the fear of death. We're not afraid of death itself. We're afraid of the starvation of everything we've been feeding our whole lives. There's an esoteric teaching that distinguishes between two types of death: death with a lowercase d and death with a capital D. Death with lowercase letters is what everyone fears. It's when the body separates from the soul. The body dies, consciousness continues, but now you're thrust into whatever comes next without control. You didn't choose the timing. You didn't master the process. You're just ejected from physical form, and you take all your desires, all your fears, all your patterns with you. Then death with capital letters. This is what initiates seek. It's when the soul separates from the body, not physically dying, but mastering the process of consciousness moving between states, learning to disengage from identification with form while still in form. This is why initiation has always been described as preparation for death, not because you're preparing to die someday, because you're learning to die consciously while alive. There's a Greek myth about this. Persephone, daughter of Demeter, gets taken to the underworld by Hades. Her mother searches everywhere for her, abandoning her duties as goddess of harvest. The world starts dying because Demeter won't take care of it. Eventually they strike a deal. Persephone ate 6 pomegranate seeds in the underworld, so she has to spend 6 months there and 6 months on the surface, forever. This is the wheel. Consciousness descending into matter, experiencing the delights of physical form, then ascending back, then descending again. The cycle never ends unless you understand what's actually happening. So how do you get off the wheel? Through understanding. That's it. Knowledge is the only exit. But here's the catch. You can't understand the wheel by running from it. You can't transcend death by avoiding life. There are 3 traditional approaches to this. First, Mahayana, the great vehicle. You dedicate yourself to saving all beings. When everyone is enlightened, you'll be enlightened too. Noble idea, but you're waiting for something that might never happen. Second, Hinayana, the small vehicle. You withdraw from the world, become a monk, a mystic, a hermit. Focus entirely on your own liberation. But how do you know when you're ready? And if you isolate yourself from humanity, how do you develop the consciousness that comes from relationship? Third, Vajrayana, the diamond vehicle, the middle path. You evolve yourself while helping others. You work with the wheel while you're on it. You don't wait until conditions are perfect. You don't abandon responsibility. You engage with life fully while maintaining awareness of the mechanism. This is the path of instantaneity, the path where every action becomes an opportunity for consciousness to develop. Not someday when you're ready. Now. While you're still dealing with desires, fears, relationships, problems, the key is understanding what is versus what you wish was. What you wish was says, I want this to be different. I want pleasure, not pain. I want life, not death. What is says, this is the situation, regardless of my preference. When you act from what is instead of what you wish was, you stop feeding the wheel. You work with it instead of being worked by it. Let's make this concrete. Right now in your life, you have multiple wheels spinning. Some you can see, most you can't. You have patterns in relationships. Maybe you keep attracting the same type of person. That's a wheel. You keep having the same argument with different people. That's a wheel. You make progress on something, then sabotage yourself. That's a wheel. These aren't punishments. They're not even really problems. They're showing you where your consciousness hasn't fully integrated yet. Here's a practical example. You develop antipathy towards someone. That feeling has its own life. It wants to be fed. So you think about what they did wrong. You imagine confrontations. You tell other people about it. All of this feeds the antipathy. Now you're on that wheel. The antipathy controls you. You can't just decide to stop feeling it. That doesn't work, but you can recognize it as a wheel. You can see that antipathy and sympathy are 2 sides of the same pattern. Both need to be fed to survive. If you stop feeding the antipathy, not by suppressing it, but by simply observing it without acting on it, eventually it transforms. The energy that was locked in antipathy becomes available for something else. You just turned one of your wheels consciously. That's the work, not the big cosmic wheels. Those take care of themselves. Your personal wheels, your daily cycles, your emotional patterns, your habitual responses. Every time you recognize a wheel and work with it instead of being spun by it, you're developing the consciousness that eventually masters the whole mechanism. Here's what we've covered. Samsara isn't just reincarnation. It's the pattern of alternation between opposites that happens at every scale. Your breath, your emotions, your life and death, the birth and death of universes, all wheels within wheels. We fear death because we fear the starvation of our desires. We fear losing the patterns we've spent our lives feeding. But there are 2 types of death. One where the body leaves the soul, which is unconscious and terrifying, and one where the soul learns to disengage from the body, which is mastery. The way of the wheel is through it, not by avoiding life, but by understanding the mechanism while you're living, by working with your daily wheels, by acting from what is instead of what you wish was, by recognizing patterns and choosing whether to feed them. So here's my question for you. Which wheel in your life feels most obvious right now? What pattern keeps repeating that you're finally ready to see clearly? Drop a comment and let's discuss. Subscribe to One Paradox Collective for more investigations into consciousness. We bring you practical frameworks for working with the wheels you can't yet see.